Welcome back to round one, where we play just the beginning of a game to give you a taste of what it's like. Today we're going to be playing 2 rounds, most likely, of Call of Duty, the board game. We've just recently put up a preview of this, if you've happened to have seen that. This video is going to actually show you it being played in action, and we are using, at least with the prototype that we have here in front of us, all of the advanced components and advanced rules that we were given.
Almost all of it.
Yeah, almost all of it. And I think the game promises even more.
Yeah.
Again, this is just a prototype that you're seeing in front of us here, and some limited components here. But today, we've got a special guest. It's not Ryan. It's Nelson from Nelson All Over. Nelson, welcome to the table.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Nelson is going to take on Ryan. Why am I here?
We've been waiting for.
I'm here for a couple reasons. One, there's a gap here at the end of the table that just looks like
space filler.
It would look weird. I'm a space filler, and at that, I'm a little space filler in the middle of these two guys. But yeah, we're going to be playing a couple rounds here to give you an idea of how it plays, hopefully demonstrate some of the different things you can do, because I think the advanced rules bring in some unique things beyond the basic training.
Yeah.
In our other preview, we kind of focused a little bit more on just the general idea of what the game was doing, basic training style. Talked a little bit about the advanced stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're going to see a lot of that in action here. This is a game that can play. There are rules for playing for more than 2 players. But I think from what we've seen of it thus far, it is designed to be a 1v1 head-to-head game like this, where Nelson's starting here, Ryan's starting here, and all their planning is going on behind these screens.
Yeah, and that's another reason that David is here, to fill the silence, because this is a planning game. It's almost like a hidden movement game where we are both planning out our own hidden moves. So there is a level of concentration that needs to be done. Our boards in front of us, if you can kind of see here, our boards mimic this top board. We're not planning out our movements on this board. We're actually doing it all on our own little board with the help of these little tokens. And there's a lot of things, since we're playing the advanced mode, that we have to think about, including not just when you're moving. You can take some extra actions, like using an item, or playing a tactics card from your hand, or reloading your gun, or sprinting. So there's a lot of different things you can do, and it all has to be pre-programmed before we ever take our first move. So that's the element of Call of Duty that they chose to kind of focus on, is that tension of like, I know where he started, I know he spawned on the other side of the map, but which way is he going to go? Of course, our goal is to get to the middle here to get this flag.
It's a goal.
It's a goal. The other goal is just to kill each other. So is he going to sneak around to try to get me from behind? Is he going to go straight for the flag? Is he going to take a vantage point? There's a lot of guessing that you have to do. And I've never played Call of Duty with Nelson. I don't know if he's a camper.
I'm really good.
Sniper. Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm a sniper. I'm bad at Call of Duty, first of all, the actual game. Because I sit there, I like finding a little hiding place, and then I sit there and I camp and I camp and I camp, and no one ever walks by. And then the moment I step out, I get shot.
That sounds so. That does sound like Call of Duty for better or worse, and that actually feels a lot like the board game too.
Yeah.
Because they've done this thing. Combat is very fast paced, and I almost guarantee. I mean, 2 rounds, we're going to see at least one combat here.
100%.
Combat starts as soon as you see each other. You just start firing at each other, and chances are somebody dies every single combat. So it's meant to be very fast-paced. There's not HP trackers. You're not whittling someone down over time. You're literally going head-to-head. And it's very frantic style of combat you'll see. Yeah, and somebody dies. Somebody dies all the time.
Yeah,
That's the way you're going to get points.
Quite a bit. That's how you're going to get points. You're also going to get points in this scenario anyway, if at the end of each round, you are in control of the flag. And what that means is, it doesn't mean your character is on the flag, but it means you were the last one to have moved through that space.
Yeah. Now, we have, like we said, all the advanced stuff. So let's talk about that really quick. And your player area is set up here with your character. I'm General Shepard. My power, so to speak, is that I get to carry 2 items. I chose the grenade as my personal item, but I also get this magnum. If you ever enter my space, I can shoot at you and just do wounds to you without even having to do combat. I also have the M4A1 assault rifle. Gives me a hand size of 4. And you can see how some of the stats on this card will play out in combat when that happens. And then I chose airstrike to be my kill streak reward.
Yeah, if we see any kill streaks. The kill streaks take a few kills.
You get 3 kills to get the kill streak.
To get up there so that you can use it. But we'll see if we see one of those on camera. Nelson, who are you playing?
I'm playing Simon Ghost Riley, who my attacks gain a advantage if I'm looking at Ryan, but he's not looking at me. So
He's
I'm kind
sneaky.
of I'm sneaky. I'm the ghost. I'm this ghost. I'm also sporting the M60 light machine gun.
Nice.
And so I may not be accurate, but I'm going to do some damage.
Yeah. And then what'd you pick for your items?
My items, I got a proximity mine, so I plan on placing that somewhere and hoping Ryan
like
runs
it.
over it.
Like,
And then
spoiler
I got-
alert.
I figured he was gonna put the mine down.
Spoiler alert, someone's going to shoot someone.
Yeah,
It's-
right? And then I got the RC car for my kill streak.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, wow. All right, so we're going to jump right in just to give you guys a sense for how it plays and explain some things along the way. And like Ryan said, this is going to be where things go quiet as they plan their moves behind their screen. I'm sure you've both had time to think about it.
Yeah.
So don't dilly-dally. But they're going to be planning markers. Go ahead, by the way.
I've thought a little bit about it, but now
They're going to be placing their markers, and each marker they have 4 basic move
I
markers.
should draw my cards.
And 1 for each step. So they have a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. And in those markers, you could place tokens if you want. So for instance, on your second move, you could put your item token in there, signifying that during the second move, someone might use their item, be it the grenade, be it the proximity mine. You could also sprint. That's an extra token that you can use to effectively, instead of moving to one adjacent node, you can move twice to a node that's 2 spaces away effectively. And the board here, as you can see, and again, if you didn't watch our preview video, line of sight is very, very easy here. There's no sort of like looking and trying to figure out which way someone is pointed. If you're on these lines and you can see from this node to this node, you see there's a red line that connects there and one here. That means that this person can see this person and this person can see this person. And thematically, what's really cool is you can see if someone has the upper ground up here, they can actually see quite a ways. This blue line goes down here, then over to here, then over to here. So they can see all the way over here, and they get an advantage by standing there.
And if you can see on my board, we have these little figures too. So I'm sitting over here, I'm thinking about this, and they give you some markers effectively, so you can try to plot out where you think the enemy might be going. Because we have these 4 different actions, and we're going to be taking these actions simultaneously. So I'm trying to guess where Nelson's going to be when I take my first action, when I take my second, even when I take my third. Which one of these actions is going to be the one that maybe finally triggers combat?
Yeah, this is the game is all about head games. Like as you're planning here, that's all you're thinking about. Like what Ryan just said is, what is he going to do? And you know, you could play the game, you could slow play the game, and kind of like, for instance, if you're you, maybe you just kind of like, I'm not going to go for the flag right away.
Yeah.
I'm going to expect the unexpected basically, and go camp up here, see what happens. Maybe you get a pot shot from here all the way over to here if he runs up here, something like that. Not giving you any ideas, by the way.
The other thing too that you have to keep in mind that I rack my brain over is facing of your direction. Every time you move, you have to choose which line you're facing. So anytime I'm at a corner, I'm trying to guess, okay, which way might he be coming from? Because you really want to be facing them if combat starts. So trying to like figure that out is tough, and they could be going a completely different direction. But I've got my.
You've got yours.
My guess.
I've got mine.
You've got yours.
I got
And
my
not to
placement.
mention, the last thing I want to mention before we start putting these into action, you can actually stack markers. So for instance, if you wanted to move and then delay and pause, which really can mess with the other guy's head, you can do that just by stacking those markers. And even then, you could even move your rotation. So like really thematically to get into the game, you could go up to a position, aim down this way, stay there, aim down this way for the next one. Now, you could be wrong, and you could be aiming that way when they come around the corner aiming the other
Which
way.
happens. And there's also an aiming down the sights token,
Yeah.
which you can use to even get a better boost of your aim when it comes time to do combat. And it's possible we don't get into combat first round, but I almost guarantee we will by the second round.
Well, that flag is a lure, obviously, so we'll see if everyone's running for it.
I've already put my stuff down. I'm going for it.
So the last thing, no one removes their shield. So because there's some things that you put on your planning board that you never want someone to see, say for instance, if you planted a mine or you did something else that maybe not in our prototype here, you don't remove your shield. So there is a level of trust here. Last message on that, no cheaters. Don't cheat. Don't cheat.
David's
at games.
line judge here. Just
I am the line judge. I'm keeping them both honest. So anyway, let's go to action 1, and we will resolve that on the board. I will help you both with the movement.
I can reach mine. So we do this simultaneously.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have to be completely synced up, but you get the idea.
Ooh. Oh.
Oh, so it looks
sprint.
like, yeah, Nelson, you must have sprinted.
I did sprint.
So Nelson had, do you have a sprint token here or here probably?
Yep.
You probably don't have to mention that.
Well, it does matter. It doesn't for this because if either movement passed through my line of sight, we'd start a combat.
Yeah, true.
However, I mean, there's no way. I'm not seeing you.
I know, but this is interesting. You're both pointed in this direction. So let's go on to action 2.
All right, action 2 for me is here, and I have a tactics card.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
I do have, and I have a tactics card.
Oh, so
I thought.
Nelson definitely he's going for the flag.
I thought you might come around here to take advantage of this cover, but I was like, he's gonna go for
I was
the
expecting
flag.
you to come up
Oh,
here.
this way and come
Yeah.
this way? No, I was going straight for it.
Well, long story
Either
short.
way, I have a tactics card to
Fight.
play, so I'm glad to hear this.
So whenever two figures are in basically a situation where they can fight, they do. And Ryan is looking, he's what they call on target because he's looking down the line at where Nelson is. Nelson, I'm sorry to say,
on target.
You're not on target, but you are going to fight.
Which means sweeping patrol does actually take effect. I get a lightning bolt for my speed and 1 extra defense during this action. I figured this is where we were going to fight. I just didn't know if I was going to get the aim off.
And what this means, and you may have already seen this, this card is a tactics card. Ryan had to play this behind his screen while he was planning. Not to mention he had to put a tactics token inside that action.
Which I did.
So that fires off. It's a big guessing game where you think, okay, am I going to be in combat during this action?
Honestly,
and it paid off for
this
Ryan.
thing really, I didn't expect you to get there, so I thought you'd be here.
The sprint,
sprint threw me off.
The sprint keeps everyone on their toes.
But I was trying to predict where I thought you'd enter the building. But yeah, that sprint, which is actually good for me though, because my gun actually is better at close range. So I'm actually glad that you've made a rookie mistake by sprinting in like that.
All right, so let's resolve this combat. Ryan, take it away.
All right, so this is where we actually go to this side of the board where we use our tactical tracker and our weapon tracker down here. So this tracker represents our tactical speed, movement, I guess, and it's affected by a few things. First of all, if you have a wound, you lose some of your tactics. Neither one of us should have wounds at the start of the game. Then you look to see if you are on target, which I am actually. I am looking at you.
So I'm on target with this flag.
Yeah, you are. Nelson's fighting the flag.
Well, I'm guessing if I get eliminated, you're going for the flag and you're going to get 2 points here. But
being on target means you go up
I get 2 on this.
Yeah.
Then you'd look at any kind of environmental pluses or minuses, which there are some David pointed out earlier that don't come into effect here.
Well, you have.
I'm behind cover.
Yeah, you have cover, so that'll come into play in a minute.
It does. I get a 2.
That's going to help him when we're actually resolving the combat.
Yeah, yes. So I get 2 defense for that. So that was preset. Now we actually go into choosing a card to place and choosing which of our dice we're going to use. This is where the dice come into play. Every weapon gives you some amount of dice, and there's 3 colors of these dice. You have your red aggression dice that add to your firepower. You have your green defense dice, which add to your speed and help lower the opponent's aim, so hopefully you can force a miss. And then you have blue accuracy dice or aim dice that increase the aim of your gun. The aim is going to start based on this track, which you can see here. And we're 1 space away from each other. So we start on the bottom track where the bullet hole is. Now you'll notice there's another symbol. That's if you happen to have played the aim down the sights token, you could start a little higher.
Yeah.
Neither one of us did that for this.
I mean, it takes a lot of planning. I mean, that's going to pay off
To
sometimes.
do the ADS.
But oftentimes you're going to try to do some of those things. It's not going to work out. Again, just like the game. I mean, if you ever play Call of Duty, you're going around every corner and pulling your gun up to your sights. Maybe someone's not there.
Yep. All right. So let's. So we choose a card, and you play that card face down, and then out of that pool of dice that we have, that our weapon gave us, we choose 7. Now the reason the pool matters is because, for example, I have 5 max green dice. Nelson has 4 max green dice with his weapon, so I could maybe take a more defensive stance, but I'm giving up aim or firepower if I do that. Where Nelson maybe just rolls all of his red dice and hopes he hits, and he'll get a ton of firepower added on there. So again, this is another guessing game, kind of nestled into that movement guessing game.
So
I don't know what I want to do here.
As they're picking their dice, just to explain a little bit more about the strategy on those dice, the rule book even says potentially not to go super aggressive, because if that calculation that takes place that you'll see here in a second is such that you lose all of your aim, all your red dice go for nothing.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting, like, it's not just a game where you're chucking 5 dice and whoever has the highest value wins. There's more to it, and it injects a little bit more thought.
You ready to roll?
We shouldn't go all aggressive, is what you're saying?
Don't just roll all your red dice. I mean, that could pay off.
Yeah.
That could really pay off if you hit.
Sure.
You hit hard. I was gonna roll my dice here. That's why I moved that out of the way. Oh, you want them right there? Well, let's flip our card, and then let's roll our dice, and then we will resolve everything that happens in a very specific order. So the first thing we do is roll, and we kind of I rolled a bad roll.
Ooh, I like hearing that.
Yeah, that was not a good roll for me.
Oh my goodness.
But the first thing we do is look at our shields, our lightning bolts. So I got 2, 1 from this card and 1 from this tactic. So I have 2, 3, 4 lightning bolts.
I have 2 plus 3 from here, so 5.
So 5. So you're first. So you actually increase your tracker by 1.
Nice. This could go the other way.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, combat can go either way.
Yes.
I mean, we don't know. So you have the advantage. So let's tally up your dice first. So
Let's do it.
what is your total aim?
My total aim
Wow.
is going to be 12.
Okay, and my defense, I have 2 built in, 2 here, 2 from this card, and 1 from this card. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7.
Oh, so 12 minus 7, so you go up 5
Yep.
on your aim chart.
1, 2, 3, 4. So close to the
Takes
orange.
him into the yellow, but not quite the
So
orange.
close to the orange.
So what that means is his card that he played, it's going to determine the damage that he gets from that card.
And I did 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on mine.
And I had 2 shields.
So I go up by 6.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 takes me
now-
into the orange.
I thought Nelson had it first, but now I'm not so sure.
I don't know. This is going to be tough. So now we should have figured out our total aim for our gun, and our tactics should be where it's at. So we'll go ahead. You're first. You had the lightning bolt. So go ahead and add up all of your totals.
So you've got a 2 up top.
Got a 2 here. Being in the yellow gives me a 4.
Yep.
And then here gives me a 2.
So 8 total
8
firepower.
total firepower.
All right.
I'm feeling good about that.
Well, I've got 7 just from my gun here.
Oh, no.
7 plus 4,
11.
11 plus 1, 12. What was yours?
I had
Less
8.
than that.
You
Oh,
had 8.
yeah.
8. I had 12. So there's a couple things that go into this calculation. First of all, I did actually have the higher value.
Yeah.
There's all that talk early. So Nelson gets eliminated.
Yep. So Nelson comes off the
And
board.
I'll take a point for
And
that.
just so you know, it's
And a kill
obviously
streak.
not player elimination. Nelson will respawn because it's Call of Duty in the next round. But that's 1 point for Ryan from that. However,
Now when you calculate, if it's close, if you're within 5 of each other, which I think that was.
yeah,
Yes,
it was.
8 to 12.
8 to
Okay,
12.
I have to take a wound. So I'll put a wound token down on my player board. Wounds last for multiple rounds. If I take another wound from something, like if I got shot with a magnum or a grenade went off nearby or something, I would die. And I carry this over to the next round. So even if this fight happened exactly again and I kill Nelson, but he's close and he puts another wound on me, he still will eliminate me next round. So that's a little bit of a
catch up.
mechanic.
Here's
Plus,
hoping.
when he's going to be able to draw more cards back to his hand size because he was eliminated.
And I don't. I just lost 2
Ryan will
cards.
not. The other thing is that Ryan at this point, since Nelson is eliminated,
that's
can
true.
decide one of 2 things. Does he stop or does he continue his programming and move on?
I'm going to continue. Oh, I'm definitely
I
continuing
mean,
my programming.
I would
Well,
assume so. I assume you're
I missed
headed
that.
towards the flag.
I am 100. I was gunning for that flag. All right, so we still resolve our actions in action order, even though Nelson's actions are forfeit because he's respawning right now. He's on his respawn.
He's slowly
count.
respawning.
I feel
He's
good.
licking
I felt
his
good about that
wounds.
kill.
That was a solid. That was an interesting.
Well, you'll see what I did
combat.
because I wasn't sure where he'd be, so I actually moved right here for this next one. So this is my 3.
And I threw a landmine.
Oh!
Where'd you throw your landmine at?
I threw my landmine right where you're at.
So I'm gonna. So it looks
you
like
lying, judging?
Nelson ran up
so
here
you
with
did
his
your
sprint,
second your action
and
here was
when
to
he was
throw a
here,
landmine?
he tossed his landmine right here. Oh!
And so I want to talk about my thought is that you were coming this way. We're gonna have a firefight. If you win, you're gonna try and escape this way. I
Yeah,
thought I'd get you
well.
on the
Yeah, because
on
when
the
you
escape.
you don't have to.
That was a good throw.
Like I said earlier, you don't have to stand on the flag. So it is.
I didn't
think,
even make it to the flag.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
I blew up right here.
There's
Yep.
probably a part of you that's on the flag.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, this is a landmine after
Yeah.
all.
That's it. Well, hey, you know what? The good news is I lose my wound.
There you go.
So
Yeah,
that was
bright
right.
side.
That was right on the mine, right?
That was right on the mine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you're right on the mine, you're eliminated. But even if it had gone off for some other reason,
next to me,
next to
I
him,
would've
that
died.
would do damage. And keep in mind, it also does friendly damage if you're too close to it.
Oh, that's true.
But Nelson can
But I
go
was already
through it.
dead.
Oh, but you were already dead anyway. Well, but the good news is I do get to draw back up to my 4. Okay, so that's the round. There's no more actions to resolve. We're both dead, and we both got a point. So we're tied.
And so my landmine went off. Do
Yeah,
I
but it
ever
comes back when
You're-
you respawn.
Yeah,
so.
when you respawn, it comes back
Yep.
on.
I'm a big fan of this landmine.
But it is really cool. The landmine, as well as some other things, are persistent in this game. So even if that hadn't gone off, the landmine would stay in that position until one of two things. Either it exploded, or you could place a landmine somewhere else, at which point you just pick up that one and move it. Because you only ever have one landmine on the board.
Nelson, don't forget to gain your kill streak for that.
Ooh, thank you.
That mine drop.
And the kill streaks that they each have, I think both are triggered. You could spend 3 from your kill streak track to do them. So it will be a few rounds before we get to that, most likely. Unless someone gets the flag
I
here
should
in
have
the
known you
second
put
round.
mine out somewhere. I mean, I figured you put them
I
out
love how
somewhere, but I didn't know it would
Ryan's a
use
little
it.
bitter. Ryan's like, I thought I won that round and I blew up.
I
on
mean,
a
I was
mine."
excited when I was excited
Could
about
you
the
hear
kill.
Nelson's laugh echoing as the mine
I
went
still
off?
hear it right now.
I want you to think about that.
So we're gonna play one more round.
Oh, this is interesting.
These guys are going to start planning that round
Well,
right
I did
now.
say we'd get into a combat probably by the second round, and we definitely
Yeah,
did.
yeah. So just so you know, that is emblematic of how this game is going to go.
Yeah.
Combat can happen very quickly. You have to consciously try to think, you know what? I'm going to try to stay out
Whoa.
of this situation. And when
This is
Ryan
tough
and I
here.
played before, one thing that can happen is I could run through the flag and get control of it, and then get away from it. And if he doesn't go after the flag, and he might be nervous to do so, maybe I dropped a landmine next to it.
Yeah, maybe you did.
Then you could just sit there and kind of turtle a little bit and hide and get some flag points from round to round, and there's no combat. But more often than not, there is going to be a combat.
All right, so here, this is tricky because we both died. We're going to respawn. Normally, you cannot respawn within line of sight of another player, but there's nobody on the board. You also cannot respawn within line of sight of this flag.
So that takes out of this,
Yeah.
this, and this are off
Our
limits.
first movement token will be where we respawn. We could respawn next to each other. We could respawn in the same space.
Yes,
And it's difficult to try to guess now where you're going to go because like that first round,
it really is.
I kind of was able to like, okay, you're probably going to maybe go around those crates. I don't even know which side of the board you're going to be on.
To
So,
put you on tilt further to know that Nelson's completely ready to go.
are you already set?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was like, well, he's just like, I'm just doing
trying
it.
to inject more mind games into
Well,
the
let me
game.
see because I got to draw back up to my hand size.
Yeah, the cards that you get.
So-
So in basic training mode, each player has the same 6 cards, and you still have the same cards in advanced mode, but you get up to, I think, a total of 16, and then technically you're supposed to get rid of 1 card, either of your choice or at random, before you start the game. So everyone plays with 15 cards. And again, this is just with the prototype that we have. I don't know that there will be more, but probably more options. There's going to be more characters, there's going to be more weapons, and certainly more, different kill streaks and different items that you can pick up. Nelson's set. Nelson he's steely-eyed and he's looking right at you.
I'm getting a kill on the flag this round.
He might get
He
2
might.
kills.
2 kills.
He's going to
That's
kill
gonna be
you, and then he's
crazy.
going to drop a proximity mine right on your body.
You might. All right.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, so when they respawn, their first move token will be where they
Yep.
respawn and in the direction they're
I
facing.
respawn
so please.
right here. Oh!
Oh boy. Oh boy. This
Wow,
should be
I
fun.
did not expect you to respawn so close to the flag.
Yeah.
We're the same distance from the flag.
Yeah.
I
No,
guess
but he
that's
thought
true.
you wouldn't.
I didn't think you would.
He thought you wouldn't.
See-
I was thinking someone was going to respawn maybe up in one of these snipey spots.
I thought about it,
Oh,
but
that would have been fantastic.
yeah, that'd have been really good for you if you spawned up there.
And then there would have been a fight.
Can't believe you spawned in the building.
All right, so that was action 1, and maybe some things happened. Who knows? Who knows? But action 2, let's see it.
Oh boy. Oh.
Uh-oh. I think I smell a Magnum gun being used here in a second.
Action 2, I also threw a frag grenade.
Oh, action 2, where?
Right here, though.
Oh.
I threw it 2 spaces away. If I had thrown it here, I would have been just fine.
So this grenade will go off at the end
Yeah.
of this turn. Not that that's going
End
to.
of this
It's not
action.
going to affect anyone because it's 2 spaces away from them. But that grenade normally would eliminate a player on that node,
Yeah.
but also do wounds to anything around it.
I
to
threw
mention-
one space too far.
If Nelson had put a proximity mine here, the grenade is
yeah,
a
that's
way
true.
that a player has to get that proximity mine off the table.
Which that won't go off because we did get into a fight. However, I will use my magnum and immediately
Give me
do 2
2
wounds to you.
Is that at the beginning of combat, or is it
No,
like
just
right
when
now?
whenever you enter into range 0, discard this card. So I don't get to use this.
Yeah, it's gone.
This
gone.
is gone. This is General Shepard's special
He
power.
may be like hit you in the head
deals
with it.
2 wounds to you, so you take your 2 wounds. So the good news is, if you kill me, I just have to be close. We both are gonna die here.
That's true.
If I'm
Another one.
close.
It's going to be a game of draws.
If I'm close. Oh, and so we are in the same space. So we are bearing down on each other. We can. You have
Oh,
a
yeah.
wound though, so you lose 1 to start with.
I do.
Yeah, that magnum paid off, and then we gain 2. That magnum paid off.
Not bad. So yeah, they're in close proximity, so which means they're also going to be on that bottom line
Not
of
so
their
bad
aim
at all.
chart
That's
again.
true.
So start at the. You're already there. All right. So now we're back to the same part where in combat you go through the same cycle where you're picking a card,
have
you're building your dice
anymore.
pool, you're setting those things like we just talked about, and then once we roll the dice, we'll find out who has more lightning bolts to get a little more advantage, and then we'll see how things go. I'm very curious to see in a second combat how people adjust what they do in their dice choice.
Yeah, well, I've chosen my dice pool right here, and I'm
So I
not
can
changing
use 7
it.
of these red dice?
7 of those dice.
You can use all. What do you get? 5 total red dice to choose. Oh, you got 6 red dice. You
Yeah.
could use all 6 and then one
Ne-
blue.
When Ryan and I
Sounds
played the
great.
other day, I got myself into a situation where he eliminated my aim
can
track
happen.
all the way down to nothing, which
Oh.
really hurts. However, if you don't roll any red dice,
It doesn't
that
hurt
won't
that
really
much.
hurt you. But if you don't roll any red dice, it's not likely that you're going to go all the way down to 0
I
on your
know
aim
this
track
is
either.
tough. This is tough to tell.
There is some thinking. There is definitely some thinking to the dice pool building.
sure.
You've got yours?
I do. I have my dice.
Nelson?
Got mine.
All
All
right.
right, roll them up here without knocking over any minis.
Oh, you did go heavy red. My gosh, I didn't go with a single red.
Oh, Nelson forewent the green.
I had
have
that
2 wounds.
mentality that as long as I get close to you, we kill each other. So I wasn't really worried about aggression. I just wanted to be within 5. I have,
Oh, you didn't reveal
and
your
reveal our
cards
card,
either.
too.
What's your card?
Swift attack. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lightning bolts.
What's your card?
It's fast maneuvers.
Okay.
So I get 1 lightning bolt and a shield.
So I
So
think
he-
I have more lightning bolts.
Yes,
Yeah.
he has 1 to your 106.
So I get first strike. So I'm gonna go first. I move this up to 7.
Oh boy.
Oh, well,
I don't
we'll
like
see.
your chances on this one.
Since you
I rolled
you
a
didn't
6.
roll any green dice though,
Oh,
so
that's not bad.
this could be bad for you. Well, we'll see. 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 aim.
Oh, and you don't have any
He has
that
1
counter
shield.
that. 1 shield?
Yeah.
So you're maxed out? Oh boy.
I am maxed
You know what? It's
out
not
in
horrible because
damage.
you're doing 17 right now, right?
I'm doing 17 right now.
That's less than you did last round.
I was just yeah, it is less. I was just hoping to get up to 5 though for him. Just
Okay.
be within 5. So that's my adjustment. How much aim did you roll there?
9.
And I have 3, 4, 5.
So 4.
So you're gonna get 4.
Still in the yellow.
So in the yellow,
yellow.
which is what on that
Yeah,
card?
but he has
6.
So
Oh.
my total here for
That's
being in
not
the red
bad.
is 10. I only had 17 total. So
So we're going to I got 2, 8.
that's 10.
And we've got 12, 18.
So you got it.
I got it.
But I did get it within 5.
Yes,
so
you did
the
get
wound
within
kills me
5.
The
too.
wound will kill you too.
It's another.
I was hoping that. I didn't want you to get to the flag.
I gotta
That
say,
Magnum.
that was
Magnum did it.
fantastic. The rule book, like I said, kind of warns against using too many red. But when you roll red and you roll big, it can make up for a lot of other
it
shortcomings.
did.
Yeah.
I mean, it really did. That was very dynamic. I was sitting there like, well, this Magnum didn't feel like the best ability, just having this Magnum. But that just paid off.
It got
No,
you
it's
the
pretty
kill.
good. And also, that Magnum is in addition to the other item that both players
Yeah,
get to pick.
unfortunately,
So.
if this grenade had gone off, if I had hit you with this grenade and the Magnum, you would have been dead either
So
way.
both of you are off the board, eliminated.
Well, the good news is my frag grenade comes back.
You both get a point, or did you give
I
your
just
points?
gave us both points.
They're both at
Perfect.
2 points right now.
And we've not touched the flag once.
That is hilarious.
That is really
we
fun.
just keep
We just
killing
keep going
each
down the
other.
same route.
So
not this time.
When
Third
they
round,
do,
I'm going
when
down
they
a
do
different
touch
route.
the flag, we'll use this token here that signifies who has control of it. But you won't see that on camera because we are going to finish the rest of this game off camera, and we'll see who ends up coming. I think we're going to play to probably 5.
I think you play till 5 just for this.
Just in the standard edition of the game. So we're going to play to 5 points. We'll come back and tell you about the whole experience and let you know if anyone got their kill streak.
Oh, we should both be at 2.
Yep.
Ooh, one more
That's
kill
true.
for that kill streak.
And if anyone ever touches the flag.
We'll see if that happens.
We'll be right back. And we are back. It didn't take much longer. You saw 2 rounds. We played a total of 5 rounds. And one of the rounds you missed, I'm going to tell you right now.
We had some good rounds.
By the way, let's get this out of the way. Ryan was able to take Nelson out 5-2.
I do much better when the cameras are on.
It was 5-2. While the cameras were off, I managed to grab the flag, which was where I got some points. And then finally, we came down to it. We had one last standoff, and I killed. There was only one more combat.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. So the first round that you didn't see on camera, when they respawned here and here on opposite corners of the board. So that round, there was no combat. And then Nelson, I think your first move, he sprinted here and then sprinted here.
Yep.
So he was really close. He was making his move for the flag. Ryan, did you move much at all?
I didn't even move at all because after the second round when we both spawned and like ran right into each other, which how crazy is it? We'll talk about this, but out of the 3 combats we had, 2 of them were us moving into the exact same space. I didn't have my Magnum for the second one, but I did manage to.
They were very in sync mentally.
We'll talk about that, but that was cool. But then after me coming down from here and coming around to get the flag, with Nelson coming around and trying to get me out of my perch, and us like
it was just kind of
literally
this
barely missed each other.
Dangerous dance where they were moving around each other and like that. And that honestly, it was kind of a cool round to have no combat, but for there, like I said, to be this sort of dance around each other.
And points still were scored because I took the flag, and then on the last turn, the 4th action, Ryan took it from me.
Yeah, I ran back through. I sprinted through and grabbed the flag.
Yeah.
Oh, and you also threw a grenade.
See, that was what
blew up his mind,
saved me, right? Because I thought you might move in because that last round you had moved in.
Yeah.
Like quick. So I threw a grenade thinking you might do the same thing, but it got your mind. So I was actually clear to run through. So that random grenade throw saved my life and triggered it. But we just kept dancing around it until this last, because I went this way and Nelson went that way. And then finally on the last turn, we both came together.
Yep.
And this was a very strategic fight. Like we thought about it for a long time, how we were going to build our dice pool. And Nelson got my aim down to 1. One more.
Had he gotten it down to 1 more, the tides would have been completely
it would have been
turned.
different. Yeah, I would have lost my red dice.
And we would have still been playing probably.
Yeah.
It was a very close fight. I took those wounds, and if I'd been standing on a mine or something, I would have died. But luckily, that brought me to 4 because I captured the flag the last turn for 3. That brought me to 4, and then holding the flag at the end of the round brought me to 5.
Yeah, and 5 is what you play sort of in the very basic version of the game, which we just did for today's video. But you can see here the score chart goes up pretty high. You could play very far. I don't know what they suggest for the advanced game, but my guess is it's probably 10 or more.
Well, and there's a few different things you can do because you can, if you have a couple sets, you can actually play a team game where you control, where you have a teammate and you go for a higher value. Instead of capture the flag, there's a deathmatch mode where you're just gunning at each other.
There's also recruits that you can add to the game.
That's the one thing I mentioned early in the video. We didn't use quite everything because it's a little much for your first couple games.
Yeah.
But you have a recruit, which is like a second, kind of worse hero.
Yeah, it's kind of like an
kinda worse
NPC
soldier.
under your control.
But you can move them around as well, and you can get a pincer. So like, ideally, you'll get into a fight, and if you lose the fight and wound them, your recruit might still come in there and finish them off. So you really have 2 people to kind of form pincers and do things like that, or somebody can guard the flag while the other people are out fighting. It does make the game a little bit more dynamic on the board, but it's also a lot to try to
it's a lot to consume in the video for your first look at this game. Now, Ryan, I don't have a question for you. I have a question for Nelson because Ryan won. Nelson, what would you do differently, if anything, if you played again or in any given mission? Were there things you learned from this experience?
Yeah. Okay, so I think if I did it again, I did not give as much heedance until that last fight to the green defensive dice.
Yes.
Because you had the advantage, which gave you more firepower.
Yeah.
You had just
The
I rolled
shield.
a
And
ton of green dice
if,
too.
If I did something, just a little bit more, then the tides would have been completely different. I was kind of like, more firepower is better, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all it
even
could have
though David
taken
did
is
say
one
more
green
fire-
die, one more green die.
David did say firepower is not always the best way to go.
And-
But
it's true.
we did see it help him out.
It did
once
help
at
out
least.
that one
Yeah.
fight. It did really help out that one fight. So, that's the gamble because you don't know what
Yeah.
your opponent is bringing to the table.
Right.
I brought a lot of green dice that last round, and I didn't bring a lot of aim dice. So knowing that, if you had just brought a couple more green dice, you would have gotten my aim down to 0.
Yeah.
But you don't know. It's very difficult to predict. Also, you get the bonuses from the cards. I had extra defense on my strafing fire card on that last round too. So I had a huge amount of defense.
Yeah, I rolled 5 aim dice.
Yeah.
And you were able to keep me in the yellow.
Yeah.
Which was huge because I was going for this headshot. I was hoping to get really high
yeah.
for that
That's
16
a 3 in
damage.
the yellow. It would have gone from 3 to 11.
Exactly, right? And so you rolling all those dice plus the 2, I was like, it
Oh,
hurt
yeah.
to
If
see
you could have
reveal
gotten up that orange, that would have been
We
great.
were still close enough for me to take a wound, though. So we were still within 5 of each
Yeah.
other. I think we were within 5 of each other every fight, right? Somebody got wounded each fight.
I believe so. There was
So
no.
We didn't have one that was a complete blowout.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the experience of playing through a full game of Call of Duty, the board game. Again, this was just 5 rounds, but you can see how quickly it goes. We really weren't off camera that long. You saw 2 rounds, there were 3 more, so it was effectively, and those even went faster, I
Well,
think.
because we didn't have combat.
Yeah, we didn't
just
have
running in
combat.
circles.
So the game can move pretty quickly, and I think it's the kind of game where just like when you die and respawn, you can finish a game and go, okay, let's reset, and then maybe you can try different items. And I don't think you guys did this. No one did any kill streaks, right?
No, because that was my 3rd kill.
Yeah.
I used a lot of items, and I missed every time. And I played 2 tactics cards, one on camera that you actually saw that worked, and then I used the second one
That didn't?
that didn't because that was the term we ran away from each other. So I thought we'd be in combat, but we weren't, so my tactics card got discarded. So
Yeah, it's a really interesting experience. I think it really recreates not only the idea of a tactical combat game, but kind of recreating Call of Duty, if you will. But if you have any questions at all about the game, please make them in the comments below. We'll all get down there and answer whatever we can. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.
and GG.
GG.
What they said.